I was raised on a farm, and work has to be done. My grandfather had 6 or 8 acres on a corner. When Dad was married, he and a couple brothers built a house on part of that, and then they annexed it or changed it or whatever they had to do, put it in Dad's name. But I was born right up there. My dad and 2 brothers, none of them had ever driven a nail in anger, built a house, in quotes. It was probably the most shacky shack in town. No finish on the inside. You could see all the nails sticking through from when they were hammering the tar paper on. You could see through the roof because there was no ceiling, and it was a shake roof. It was a 2-room house. And we lived in that for 10 years till we moved up to an actual house, but moved up Ellis Street a little ways. We didn't have indoor plumbing. Probably a third, maybe a quarter of the houses didn't have indoor plumbing in the early 50s. I just remember feeling so good in that little stupid house. You don't think about whether you like it or not. It just has to be done. That is something that I think has made me a good person, helped make me a good person, is you just got to do stuff. Can't worry about it, just get it done. Even as a grade school kid, if your chores were done, you had the wood in, all those things, you could just be gone. And for my dad, who widely acknowledged as the best fisherman in Polk County, at least, if you were fishing, then anything was legal. If you got back home after dark and said you were fishing way up, Teal Creek or something, that was okay. For Mom, her thing was, if you're not home by sundown, okay, that's your choice, but I'm not going to feed you. If you got home late, you either made your own sandwich, which was okay, or she'd put it all away and there was no sandwich. So you went to bed hungry, which was a good price to pay for that kind of freedom. And to me, that was probably the coolest thing about growing up here. We all had that kind of freedom. Anybody could go out, walk around town, go out in the woods. A friend of mine, Ronnie Williams, he and I used to tell each other's parents, we were going to spend the night at each other's house, and then we could go out and walk around town all night and be big guys, be cool guys. Well, 2 places we'd wind up spending the night. We'd first check this wigwam burner, or the next one down was the only other mill working at this time. Just a great big, it looked like a teepee, but huge, be 60 feet tall. And it was all metal and had a mesh screen at the top, and all the scrap and the sawdust and the crap would go in this chute, go out, drop into this, and they would almost a continual fire in those things. If the wigwam burner had a small enough fire, you could go inside and go to sleep. Move the sawdust around a little, and it made a great bed, and it was always warm inside. And so we did that dozens of times. If the fires were too big or there wasn't a fire at all, go up to the bridge, turn right where the park is for the falls. Just that next field used to have a great big barn in it. It was Westbrook's barn. And we could go there, and if we were pretty quiet, we wouldn't mess with the horses. They wouldn't get excited. And we could go up in the hayloft and move a little hay around and go to sleep there. And so it was either in a wigwam burner or Westbrook's barn. You never worried about bears and cougars and lions and tigers and stuff. You just could go out in the woods anytime and feel comfortable. That, to me, I still love that feeling. My best story about the stairs, because I did not run them, I don't know if I ever ran from the bottom to the top. A cousin who's my same age would come spend a week in the summer. We'd go down to the pharmacy, it was a general store, and buy those little wooden gliders. You could buy a decent glider for a nickel, but a really good wind-up one for a dime. We'd go to the top of the stairs and fly those things. Some of them we never got back. Some of them just went away. We got to chase a lot of them down and do it again, but that is one of my favorite memories of those stairs, is throwing those gliders out right off the top and just watch them glide out here over town. Something that was good for this town and really good for me in high school was somehow we became the best small school basketball team in the entire valley. Clear up past Detroit, Valsets, down to Mohawk. We lost 2 league games in 3 years, and both of them were flukes. We were very good, and it came from growing up in this community, this close, and it didn't matter what season it was, we played basketball. And it got to the point where by the time we hit high school, we knew if a guy was making a fake or if he was actually going to make that cut. And it just became so good that we could pass the ball without looking, and we could do stuff that really wasn't part of the game at that time. No look passes. Nobody was doing that in '62. We were very good. And we had 3 different coaches in those 3 years. Each coach saw who we were. They had their own offense. They taught us their offense and we would run it, but we always had our own game. We never thought we were going to lose a game. We're from Fall City. But to me, asking about what makes me me and what makes this town so cool, the gym that's there now, there's this whole piece that sticks out the front that was not there. All the seating that's there now wasn't there. The gym was much smaller. People, of course, were following us. We were winning. The gym at the time was just a big wall and it had windows. Well, if you were standing up on the road, you could look through the windows and watch the clock and watch the score. And so there'd be 30 people standing outside in the snow and the rain watching that scoreboard. I love that. That is something that made me not just an athlete, but a finisher. It's like, it's not over till it's over. I played basketball because that was my game. Growing up in this town gave me a lot, gave me a great foundation to move my life on. I have so enjoyed being who I am and being where I came from.